This is my latest purchase from eBay, and perhaps it marks a slightly new avenue of modelling for me, because this is an old Dinky toy from the 1950s, probably the late 1950s. It is a Rolls-Royce silver Wraith in not too bad condition, except for the heavily tarnished windscreen and a bent front axle. The nice thing about this is that it has written on the back, made in England, Meccano Limited. It took me back to my childhood days of birthday presents and Christmas presents when I used to get Dinky Toys. So I've made a list of the things that are wrong with it and need addressing. First obviously is the poor paintwork, but I have seen far worse. The second, as I mentioned, is the heavily tarnished window, and the third is in fact the front axle is bent. You can't always see it, but it is bent. And of course I mentioned also that the front and rear bumper need replacing. On the plus side, the body itself appears to be in good condition. There's no broken parts and no dents and no obvious scratches. And the windows, although they are tarnished, they're certainly not cracked. And the other thing is, this is fitted with suspension, and that appears to be working. That appears to be working fine. With that, I'm going to take the plunge and drill out the base plate. Now I have bought a special drill for doing this. It's a 4mm one, but the end is ground for fitting in the dimple in the rivet and neatly drilling it out. So let's do that. So here the car is stripped down to its basic parts. The wheels and axles are still in here because there's a spring plate attached across here which I don't think I'll remove. I'll see if I can get rid of or move the axles with that still in place. There's the window unit, that came out okay, and it is very grubby, but it looks as though it may clean up. So very simple I suppose really, but they're the basic parts. Using a 2.5mm drill, I'm going to drill out the rivet posts, ready to take the replacement rivets when I've finished. I'm going to put a little drop of oil in there just to ease the drilling. Not the neatest bit of drilling, I'm afraid, but I think I'll get away with it because it's going to be covered by the base plate and the rivets. Using a pair of cutters, I did manage to find enough space, so I've managed to remove the wheels without removing the flat spring there. Obviously I will need to replace the axles, but the original wheels are in perfect condition, and they just need a little polish. The next job to tackle is this base plate. I'm going to try and preserve as much detail as I can and allow a little bit of the original patina to remain on this model. So initially I'm going to use some steel wool just to rub the surface back. This is a very mild steel wool. It's a 4/0, so it's ultra fine. Perhaps I'm being a bit aggressive. like your comments on this if you have a view on the treatment of the base plate. Going back to my nostalgia comment, I'm kind of liking this. It's not going to be on show, but there's going to be a little of this age that's going to be preserved on the model, which again quite appeals to me. I'm now ready to strip the paint from the body of the car, but before I do I need a record of the colours. So I've used my paints and mixed up a little colour matching square here or rectangle on a bit of plasticard. The colours I've used for the grey is Vallejo dark grey with some white added. Both are the same colour actually, it's just the lighter one has more white, and both have a very small amount of any acrylic green. I put a little sap green in it, and it's made quite a nice, let me just show you a little closer. It's matched reasonably well, the light and the darks. So now I'll keep this so that I can mix enough paint to airbrush on the model later on. Time finally to strip the paint from this body. I'm using Dial Paint and Varnish Remover from B&Q, very cheap but most effective. And I'm going to just pour some in this bath. And I'm going to well coat this model with the paint stripper. Now I've done the Oxford die casts with this paint stripper, and they take, well, they're fully stripped in an hour, so I'm hoping this will work just as effectively. Good. I'll come back in an hour. The body is now stripped of paint, and I like to handle it with gloves on at this stage because I don't want too many finger marks or any finger marks getting on the die cast. I understand that this can cause problems later on. So just in case, I'm going to give this a final sort of wipe over with some methylated spirits to make sure there's no grease or finger marks on it, and then I'm going to set it up for spraying. Before I paint the body, I thought I would just check the fit of some of these parts, particularly the new castings I bought to replace the broken bits. If you look, you'll see there's quite a difference between this and this. I hadn't quite expected this, but the rear bumper here, the new casting, although basically it looked the same, just did not fit. The holes didn't align up with the posts in the body casting, and also the bumper here was pinched too tight, it wouldn't fit close to the body. So I've had to bend those out and re-drill. You can see the difference in the holes. I've just opened those up with the drill and a file so that they fit over the mounting posts, the rivet posts in the body. That was worse than the radiator and front bumper. Now that wasn't too bad actually, but I did have some flash on the back here which stopped it seating against the front of the car, against the front of the body, and so I had to do a little bit of scraping and filing behind there until I got it to push back comfortably. Now you'll notice they are both quite shiny. The original one was plated, and this is just a casting, I think, although it is quite bright. So what I'm going to do is, they look fairly close to me, so what I'm going to do is to stop this oxidizing if it is a casting, a plated casting. I'm going to put some lacquer or varnish on there to protect it, to stop it oxidizing. I'll do that with the front bumper and radiator and the rear bumper as well. Now I knew the glazing would fit because it's an original part, and I did try to take out some of the marks, and I have succeeded, but I found one good way of doing it that I used to use on aircraft canopies was to use a nail buffer. So this one's clearly marked 1, so that's the coarsest, so you'd go over that until you get a sort of a matte look, actually, because you're taking the gloss off, but you'd buff it down easy enough. Take out some of the minor blemishes and scratches, and then when you've done that you switch it over to 2, which starts to polish it, and then 3, which is very, very fine, will buff it up to a gloss. Now I did that, and there's 1 or 2 marks still in it, but I'm happy with those. But to get that final look on this, I coated it with some Johnson's Clear. There are substitutes now, but it's basically a floor polish that went out of, they stopped producing it some time ago. But a lot of plastic modelers bought spare bottles, and I'm still using that. But I'm sure there are other things that you can use. It's a nice self-leveling varnish, and it gives a nice, I don't know whether you can see that, but it gives a nice clear look to this glazing. Right, except for cleaning up, let's get on with the airbrushing. I'm going to spray the primer using Halfords white primer. Here now I have my paint mixed, ready to spray paint the body. This is the light grey, and here's the colour sample, and I've mixed my colour to match the lightest colour, which I'll spray first. Well, the painting is finished and the masking has been removed, and I'm really pleased with the final results. The car has been varnished with a couple of coats of gloss, and I think it looks rather splendid. I'm going to leave this until tomorrow, let it fully harden, and take no risks with it. Okay, I'm now going to glue on the radiator and front bumper. I'm using Araldite Rapid, the 5-minute drying. so I'll set that aside to dry, and then I'll do the back bumper. Well, the restoration is nearly complete. The main components are here, and I've polished the wheels and put new tyres on. I'm really pleased overall. I think this looks fantastic. I've got glued in the rear bumper as well as the front bumper, and I've used a bit of araldite also to glue back the roof. I've gone ahead and completed the assembly of this project. You can see the rear bumper is in place, and the wheels and the new tyres. The wheels are the original ones, and they polished up really well with just a little bit of Brasso. I replaced the axles with an axle kit I bought from eBay. It consisted of metal tubes with these brass sort of pins that sealed the edges, so it's a matter of just cutting them short or cutting them to the width I wanted them, and mounting them on the base plate. So this is finished. The base plate is now fixed, and the rivets, the new rivets, have been glued into place. I quite like this partial restoration, I suppose, with this little bit of original patina on the base plate, giving away the age of the actual model. But overall, I'm really happy with the way this has turned out, and it's going to encourage me to do some more. To finish this product off for display, I purchased one of these really nice quality reproduction boxes from DRRB. They're made to the exact size of the original, and the colours, I'm told, are pretty close as well. I think they look good, and they're going to set the model off really nicely. So thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this, my first build. As it is my first build, I would be grateful if you have some constructive comments, anything that you might suggest that may improve the way I'm going about things. Well, I'll leave it at that. Thanks again for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe in the normal way.